I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Town of Ashland,
Here.
Mr. Hodges. Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Here.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Present.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Here.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Here.
Powhatan County, Mr. McClung. Mr. Kenny. City of Richmond, Mayor Stoney. Miss Nye.
Here.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins. Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi.
Here.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Present.
Capital Region Airport Commission, Mr. Miller.
Present.
GRTC, Ms. Adams.
Here.
RMTA, Ms. Dean.
Present.
DRPT, Mr. Trogdon. Ms. Dubinsky.
Here.
VDOT, Mr. Birch. Mr. Totten. Mr. Riblet.
Here.
Virginia Port Authority, Ms. Nelson. Mr. Cross. That concludes the roll call. You have a quorum.
Let the record reflect, we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is administrative items, confirmation of participation for remote location. We have no requests for remote participation. Are there any to be heard? Very well. Moving to the next item, consideration of amendments. Have all committee members had an opportunity to review the agenda? Are there any amendments to be made? Very well. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the CVTA minutes from August 9th. Have all committee members had an opportunity to review the minutes? Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Is there?
I did note one thing in conversation with members this morning on page 10. The third paragraph says that the public meeting was reconvened at 11:32 a.m. I believe that should be 10:32.
We'll have that corrected at 10:32. Any objection to that? Very well, that'll stand corrected. Is there a motion to approve with the correction?
So
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is open public comment. Open public comment is a time for anyone who wishes to address the authority on any matter within the committee's authority. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the committee? If so, please come forward, state your name, the entity that you represent. Seeing none, we will close public comment time. Chairman's report, I'll be brief. We are working on a number of things, Mr. Parson and I, at the direction of the full committee. We'll be heading out, kind of doing a circuit course as we get dates and times to do presentations at all of the member localities to give an update on CVTA. Many remember that Mr. Carroll did that a number of years ago. We think it's a good thing, and folks have asked us to come back, and we think they deserve to get an update. Certainly know that when you go back to your home locality, you give updates as well, but it's important for us to make sure that we meet those mandates of our members, so we're going to be doing that. We did send out a press release. Reverend Nelson, thank you for your quote. We also mentioned the new officers and the leadership team, so if anybody would like to see that, we have that here. Other than that, I have nothing else. We're going to move into item number 6, the Executive Director's Report. Mr. Parsons.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Two items of correspondence that I wanted to share. Starting on page 12, the town of Ashland requested a letter of support for a grant application for the Ashland Grade Crossing Study. This was a grant from, I believe, the Federal Railroad Administration. So I did send that along so that it could be included in the application package. And we hope that the town receives good news on that application.
We thank you.
Yes, sir. And then on page 13 through 15, this was actually a public comment that was received via email following the Fall Line Trailhead groundbreaking in Bryant Park. This was also received by the city, I'm positive. And I just wanted to pass that along. I think everyone that has needed to see this has received it. It seems like there was a lot of redundancy in all the different folks that were recipients of this message. But I think a lot of good comments, and I'm sure that they will be received well. And the gist for those who haven't seen this or aren't able to access the agenda packet is one of the things that we are working on at CVTA along with our working group is to establish a set of trail rules that might be universally accepted through all 43 miles of the new trail. And this is mostly comments on the trail rules and some suggestions on how to make this better. The next item is agency
Mr. Chair.
reports.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Nye.
If I may, just real quick, sorry. I just wanted to say that from the city's perspective, Ms. Clark is gonna be working on the items you just mentioned about the signage, the trail rules, the lighting, accessibility, and hours of operation. So we're very excited about that and look forward to working with our regional partners on that. And then just wanted to share with folks that the city of Richmond is working on, well, we've just announced the Richmond Inspire initiative, which is our parks master plan outreach. And we are asking for feedback on that plan through richmondinspire.com through November 8th. And it's a great opportunity for citizens to weigh in on what they want to see in our park system, which, as you know, is amazing, but obviously there's amenities and things there that people would like to weigh in and have different options. So I just wanted to put that out there while we're talking about the Fall Line Trail.
Well, thank you for that. Comments by November 8th.
Correct, yes, at richmondinspire.com.
richmondinspire.com. We can publish that out too. We'll put that in.
That would
newsletter.
be great, appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Carroll.
one of the comments I saw in there had to do with, making sure that someone's riding a bike on the trail, that they had lighting. I think a simple fix for this was to make sure that anybody who's gonna ride a bike should adhere to the bike laws that are on the books already, which addresses that, especially if you're riding at night. So that's something that I think if TAC is working on this, they should try and make this, that's a way to standardize this from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. It's already established law.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Anything further? And that email from the citizen is in your packet, pages 13, 14, and 15 for further review. Mr. Parsons.
Thank you, yes. Item 6B is agency reports from Plan RVA and the TPO regarding most recent past meetings as well as future meetings. Any questions on that, please reach out to staff and we can certainly provide more information.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Parsons. We'll now move into action items. We're going to start with the Fall Line Trail revisions to Appendix A. Mr. Parsons.
Yes, thank you. Page 18, this is a request from Henrico County. If you recall, this may have been the first standard project agreement that was approved by the CVTA. There was a package of 7 different segments of the Fall Line Trail through Henrico County, and you can see them in the bulleted list on the top of the page. Those 7 segments have started and are all in various degrees of completion. And as that has proceeded, Henrico has realized that it would be beneficial to project efficiency and construction schedules if that funding could be shifted a slight amount between different segments in the list. So the county has requested that funding be changed for 3 of the projects, and the total allocation amount will not change. It's still the 35.8 million. But the details of the request, and I'll read those. Fall Line Lakeside Community Trail Phase 1, would shift $462,000 to this phase from the Fall Line Trail, Longdale Trail. Lakeside Community Trail Phase 3 would receive $497,000 to this phase from Longdale Trail. And then Longdale Trail would shift $959,000 from this phase to Lakeside Community Trail Phase 1 and Phase 11. So it's essentially a shift in funding from Longdale to more urgent sections. Finance Committee has reviewed this request and has recommended action to approve the shift. And the way this will be noted would be the Appendix A, which is our standard first appendix to the project agreements, would be updated to signify the change in funding allocations.
Very well. Is there any discussion?
I got one question.
Mr. Moyer?
So the initial estimates for each segment were wrong or not right, but the total number happened to be right.
My understanding is that this is more about timing, that certain segments, the Lakeside Community Trail Phase 1 and 3 are moving along more urgently and need the funding now, and Longdale may be coming up next.
Okay.
So that the request was to shift the funding in that way. I mean, the county can clarify if that's.
They gave us a comprehensive, it's just that they're revising their allocations to move within there, so the number stays the same, but if Enrico would like to speak to it, we'd be happy to. Mr. Wilson, do you understand?
Tony, do you mind?
Thank you, Tom.
Good morning, Patrick in Enrico County. So, yeah, Mr. Davis is correct. Basically, the first 6 phases are further along, and we have final construction estimates. Since the original estimates were done about 3 to 4 years ago, they've changed a little bit. So we're basically lining up those first 6 phases to go to construction next year. Longdale phase has 20-some right-of-way parcels, so that's taking a little bit more time. So we use that as a donor project for the other one. So probably in about a year, we'll be updating that estimate, and if we need more funds at that point, we'll look at all the various sources to fully fund Longdale, but that would be the last segment of the 7 pieces that Enrico is constructing.
Any further questions? Turn this over to Reverend Nelson for action. Is there a motion, Reverend Nelson?
So move. Second.
There's a motion, there's a second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion?
I would just say, Mr. Chair, this is not the first time we've had to do this. Chesterfield actually had to shift funds from one of our projects to a different Fall Line Trail project in order to make it work. So I'm fully supportive of giving Enrico the opportunity to make this change.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Madam Secretary?
Town of Ashland, Mr.
Aye.
Hodges.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Charles City, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Absolutely.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins. Aye. Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi. Aye. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Enrico Clark, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Henrico County's draft SPA. Mr. Parsons?
Yes, sir, thank you very much. This is page 19 and 25, and I believe the request is for 2 separate actions on this.
It is, so we'll go through item A first.
Yes,
Have
sir.
any discussion? We'll have to do a roll call vote on that, and then we'll do item B. Have any discussion after the presentation, do a roll call vote on that.
Thank you. These next few items, are items B2, B3, and B4 are all initiation of standard project agreements. The first 2 are with Henrico County, so on page 19, this is CVTA Project 52. This is Route 60 between Route 33 and Beulah Road Roundabout. This is regionally approved. This came in the last, I believe it was actually the second round of regional funding. So this is, has been forwarded to us by the county with a request for CVTA concurrence so that the SBA can be approved and project work can start.
Okay. So that's a presentation on Route 60. Any questions? Very well. Reverend Nelson, is there a motion to approve Route 60, Route 33 Beulah Road roundabout?
Thank you, so moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins. Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Been trying to liven this place up enthusiastically, yes.
Thank you. Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Yeah.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Motion carries. The next item, Mr. Parsons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I should have noted, this last item, just a little bit more detail, covers all three phases, PE, right-of-way, and construction. The next item up for approval is CVTA Project 58. This is Route 5 and New Osborne Turnpike improvements. Again, Henrico administered, and this covers PE in the amount of $4 million.
Very well. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Reverend Nelson, is there a motion for Route 5 New Osborne Turnpike?
Yes, thank you again, so moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, I have a second. Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Another enthusiastic, yes.
Thank you. Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Yep.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
Item
Mr.
number
Chair.
three, Mr. Parsons, please.
Item 3, now we are looking at a grouping of two City of Richmond standard project agreements. The first one for consideration is CVTA Project 31. This is Hull Street Phase 2, US 360. And the project is in the amount of $6.2 billion. Again, for consideration by the board.
Very well. So on page 31, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Nye, is there a motion to approve Project 31 Hull Street Phase 2 US 360?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
You know, I know this is like watching paint dry, but this is really exciting stuff. These transportation projects coming to the ground are awesome.
So
I'm a yes.
That's a vote. Okay, let the record reflect Mr. Carroll finally voted.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Motion carries. Mr. Parsons.
Thank you. The next item is on page 37, and this is exciting. This is the CVTA Project 62, and it is the North-South BRT, so bus rapid transit. We are assisting in getting this project off the ground. The allocated project funding amount is $8 million, and that is up for consideration by the board.
Very well. So on page 37, Ms. Nye, is there a motion related to CVTA Project 62, North-South BRT?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County,
Mr.
Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson. New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Ms. Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda, item number 4, V4, VDOT draft SPA. Mr. Parsons.
Excellent, thank you, sir. This is page 43. This is CVTA project number 1, Fall Line Trail Design Build number 2. So this is the southern section of the Fall Line from the southern shore of the Appomattox through Colonial Heights, Petersburg into Chesterfield County. This is a VDOT administered project, and the project will, the funding amount is estimated to be $25.2 million. Again, this is for consideration by the authority.
Very well. Is there any discussion on this? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Yes.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Ms. Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda, B5, Mr. Parsons.
Yes, sir, thank you. This is page 51, and it's a fold-out page in the pages in the agenda packet. This is the FY25 local allocation plan. This is essentially our working draft of all of the projects that are expected to be funded locally using CVTA funds over the next fiscal year, the current fiscal year, excuse me. So this has been vetted by both the TAC and the Finance Committee. This is essentially a working plan. It is not binding in any way and is intended to be updated as new project information is available through the year. But it does give all of us a great snapshot of all the intended uses for CVTA local funds for the coming year. The request is to motion to approve the FY25 local allocation plan. And because this is not a binding financial document, a voice vote would be satisfactory, Mr. Chair.
Well, so have all authority members had an opportunity to review this? Are there any questions, any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I think just for the purpose of the community that might be watching, this document just illustrates local projects that the localities are using the local dollars for, just in case, I don't know if we wish to put that out.
Great point. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Anything further? Very well. Is there a motion to approve the FY25 local allocation plan?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? There's a second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion? By voice vote, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. The next item I'll just introduce, I just want to thank folks. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and then with a lot of meat and potatoes when you're kind of making this transportation stew. And then there's a lot of things that sometimes take place that don't always rise to the level of a project, but they're very important. So I just want to thank the authority members and their staff for getting the annual certification of expenditures in. I know that's something that just kind of drops in, and you've got to get town managers and county administrators, and you have to get a bunch of staff to look at it. And we're batting 1,000 on this. And so thank you for getting these documents in. They're very important. Mr. Parsons, will you please introduce item B6?
Yes, sir, thank you. This is page 54 of your agenda packet, the FY24 annual certifications and final reporting for FY24. The first section of pages from 54 to 62 are copies of all of the certifications from each member jurisdiction. We do have, as the chair said, we're batting 1,000 on getting those completed. So thank you for that. This is called out for in the code, in the CVTA legislation, that project use of local CVTA dollars are only able to be used for certain projects, transportation-related expenses. And this certification is the legally binding mechanism for the CVTA to ensure that the funding is being used for its intended purposes. As a companion piece to that, the second fold-out section, starting on page 33, is our final year-end report for CVTA local expenditures. This shows all 4 quarters for each jurisdiction, and this is signifying every project that received CVTA local dollars in the past fiscal year. So the certifications are essentially signing off on this report. The intent is to show, along with the local allocation plan, which you just approved, that we used the money for what it was supposed to be used for in the last year, and here are the projects that we're intending to use for the coming year. So we update that on an annual basis, and this will go in the files in case there are any questions or future inquiries about what CVTA has helped to accomplish.
Very well, thank you, Mr. Parsons. Any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the FY 24 annual certifications and quarterly reports?
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second? Second by Reverend Nelson. Is there any discussion? By roll call, vote, Madam Secretary.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins. Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda, item B7, is our regional fund interest earnings report. For the options, Mr. Parsons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is page 68 in the agenda packet. We're getting close to the end. And this is related to some reporting and discussion that has happened at the committee level the past few meetings. We are performing very well, as we all know, in terms of short-term investments of the regional funds as they wait to be applied to projects. In that vein, we have a surplus of funds, interest earnings that have been realized over the past few years. And we've started discussions primarily at the Finance Committee level about the best applications for those interest earnings so that CVTA continues to function efficiently and for the benefit of our members. So staff has worked with both the TAC and the Finance Committee to come up with options for application of that interest income. There's a lot of detail in this document, and it essentially followed a couple different lines of thought. One, we could apply interest earnings to projects. Ideally, we look at regionally approved projects that have already been vetted and gone through the scoring and prioritization process. Those projects that could be fully funded with the amount of interest earnings we have are identified, were pulled from the regional list in the table, but that does not in any way encompass all of the projects. There are a lot of regional projects that this funding could partially fund. So TAC had a long discussion about the projects, and that was, so we'll call that bucket one. Bucket two is the fall line wayfinding plan was approved by this body. And it is a comprehensive look at all of the wayfinding needs for the entire 43-mile corridor. One thing that plan did not identify was the resources to actually fund the fabrication and installation of signage. So this interest earnings could be applied to fully funding that need so that the wayfinding plan can be implemented. And that was identified as 1.5 million in a set aside from the interest earnings could fund all of that fabrication and installation. Another item that could be considered is starting to work on our working capital reserve. That is something that is a addition to our financial policies and procedures. I believe it was spring of this year to set up a reserve requiring 3 months of budgeted annual CVTA regional funds. At this time, there are no funds set aside in that reserve, so the interest earnings could be a good kickstart to filling that reserve and making it available for our peace of mind as we move into the next phase of project funding. So with all of that information, we came up with a number of scenarios. There was actually 6 scenarios that were discussed at the committee level, and a 7th scenario was developed and has been recommended by the Finance Committee. That is identified on page 70, and I'll just read the recommendation. Committee recommendation, this item of business is a result of discussion at both the August and September Finance Committee meetings with advisement from the Technical Advisory Committee, including the entirety of the option scenarios listed above. At its September regular meeting, the Finance Committee moved to recommend that the CVTA commit $1.5 million of CVTA interest income to fund the fall line wayfinding plan implementation, and then evenly split the remaining interest income balance between the working capital reserve and funding of regionally approved projects. This recommendation would instruct the Technical Advisory Committee to develop recommendations on projects to support. So the requested action is a motion to approve a spending plan for CVTA Regional Fund interest earnings that reflects the Finance Committee recommendation. Mr. Chair, happy to take any questions.
Yeah, we'll open this up for questions. Are there any questions for Mr. Parsons? And obviously, our finance chair, Mr. Spoonhour, is here. Any discussion? Mr. Spoonhour, do you have anything to add, sir?
Nothing, Mr. Parsons, is a great job.
Great. So with that, I'll turn this over to Mr. Carroll.
I know you're trying to shut me up today, I'm sorry. It's a Friday, we're very excited. One of the discussions we had in the Finance Committee, which I think is important for everybody to know, is that, we've established this capital reserve, but no way to fund it. And one of the recommendations that I've asked staff to look at is to come up with a fiscal financial policy for us to institute, which would dedicate a portion, determined portion, either on a monthly or bi-monthly or whatever they come up with of this reserve. And the interesting thing about that, especially with the reserve itself, the capital interest, even if we put it in a reserve, we vote to do that today, that still stays in an investment portfolio. So it'll continue to earn additional monies for us if we choose to do this. So we're not taking it out of that, so it'll continue to earn money. And hopefully we'll come up with a policy in the future that will actually make a dedicated funding stream to build this pot up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Carroll. And there's been talk about that. I actually used this fancy pen from 1984 to work with Mr. Parsons. I love it. I love the pen. But in his office, just kind of drawing things out on what it might look like. I think I might have walked it over to your office. It looked a little rough. But we'll get that to the leadership of the Finance Committee. Because there are some plans that are being looked at. And with that, you can see it's very comprehensive, page 68 to 70. Finance Committee has really done a great job looking at this and making some forward progress on how we're gonna be handling some of these. So take a moment. If anybody have any questions on this agenda item at all? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to Finance Committee. Mr. Spoonhour, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that we approve the spending plan for the CVT Regional Funds interest earnings that reflect the Finance Committee recommendations.
Very well, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins.
Aye.
Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
The motion passes. Next item on the agenda, B8, Mr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item page 71 is item B8, and this is regarding bond finance validation. The staff report lists August 9th as the regular meeting where this body received a report on bond finance validation. I will say that we've been discussing this since, I believe, 2022, so it's not a new item for consideration by the authority. So we have done significant due diligence on working on this item. The report on August 9th was the latest iteration. It was introduced by myself and led by bond counsel. Ms. Gilliland is with us this morning. The Finance Committee and TAC have discussed the bond validation process in detail and both feel that it is the appropriate next step in the process to prepare the CVTA to issue debt in the future. The chair, Mr. Davis, asked that the matter be further reviewed following that meeting and vetted by the Finance Committee. That was accomplished at the last meeting of the Finance Committee on September 11th, and there was a unanimous recommendation recommending full authority approval for the executive director to proceed with the bond finance validation process. And as we recall, that's about a 6-month timeframe estimate to move through that process. So if the committee makes the approval today, then we'll begin soon to get that started.
Any discussion? We have support staff here, if they care to speak on this. Mr. Spoonhour, do you have anything?
No, just that this was a great conversation. You know, a lot of their conversations that we've had over the last 2 months have been philosophical in nature and really good debates. One of the things that was helpful is that in the Finance Committee, Mr. Harris from Chesterfield County came and talked about their bonding experience. I think what's important for the public, if you're just tuning in for the first time, this does not obligate us for anything. It helps us be prepared. Mr. Moyer, I think, did a great job of saying it's like getting pre-approved for a home mortgage before you go shopping. So it doesn't bind us to anything, but gets us ready, and maybe we'll potentially identify any holes in the legislation that we need to address now before we actually have to do it in case we needed to go to bonding for something, you know, like a hurricane. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anything further? Mr. Spoonhour, is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that we approve and instruct the executive director to proceed with the bond finance validation process.
Very well, is there a second? Second by Mr. Carroll. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Hodges.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Davis.
Aye.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Ms. Nye.
Aye.
Virginia House of Delegates, Delegate Cousins. Senate of Virginia, Senator Hashmi. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Very well, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is reports. Finance Committee, Mr. Spoonhour.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I won't have a lot to report, but it's not because we haven't been busy. It's because a lot of our work has been already discussed in items B1, B8, B5, and B7 today. I will just say that it is in the August meeting, myself and Mr. Moyer were elected or chosen to sit in as chair and vice chair for this year. So we thank you for your trust in that. And our next meeting will be October 9th. That's my report, Mr. Chair.
Very well, thank you, sir. Mr. Parsons, Finance Activities and Investment Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Page 72 is the financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. The May accrual reported on August 31st shows consistent incomes. As we had discussed in the past, there is some variability in terms of the fuels tax and the sales tax from month to month, but overall it's very consistent. You can see the year-to-date and lifetime to date on the right-hand columns. I will note that for both this financial report and the investment report that is to come, I am preparing a much more detailed presentation for Finance Committee at the request of the chair to go over all of the different inputs that are received that go into the development of these reports. So that is on the agenda for a meeting in October, and I look forward to diving in with the members of the Finance Committee. The investment report for July 2024 is noted on page 73. Just because of the timing of this meeting, we do not have the August investment report yet. We expect that in the next week. But this is something that, again, we can see month over month, we are showing great improvement. Starting in July, the table at the bottom of the page, and I think we discussed this in the Finance Committee meeting, it essentially starts over. So we did have in June, we saw 11.6 million. So this should not be a shock. This is essentially July reporting, and you will see last year, we've already shown a growth for the July month from FY '24 to FY '25 of $300,000. So continuing to work on this and use the investment income, as we have already discussed this morning, for purposes that benefit the entire community.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Any questions?
I got one.
Mr. Moyer?
When will be the date that we stop counting the interest and put together the 1.5 and then half? What is that date?
That's a great question, Mr. Moyer. The recommendation that I have is that we use the end of June reporting, so the 11.6 million. Draw the line there for FY '24, and then we can assess growth past that point for the next time.
That just seemed natural. Was the thought process? Yes, sir, Mr. Spoonhour.
Thanks. I just want to add some commentary for the full body. What Mr. Parsons talked about looking at the question came up in Finance Committee about, we saw some fluctuations in some of the revenues from the gas tax. And there were months that didn't seem to make sense. You'd think people would be driving more and spending more on gas. So we asked Mr. Parsons to do a deeper dive to understand, how do we verify the funds that we're getting? Do we just trust the state, or do we have mechanisms to understand and to be able to validate these incomes, and then to be able to identify any risks that we have? You know, these revenues can be volatile, and I think it's our duty to make sure that we are shoring ourselves up against those. So, Mr. Parsons, thank you for looking into that.
Very well. Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? Very well. The next item on the agenda is a CVTA tech update. Ms. Smith.
Good morning, everyone. Happy
morning.
Friday. The main focus of the Technical Advisory Committee meetings has been on the regional project selection and allocation framework document. When that document was developed, we all knew that we would need to review it as we started applying it. So we've been looking at parking lot items that came up during the last round, and we're making good progress with an update to that document, and expect to bring that to you before the end of the year. A subcommittee of the TAC has been working on the draft regional funding deallocation policy. So that's gonna be coming to the TAC and Finance Committee in October. And a little background on why that policy is needed. Some of the CVTA regional projects are fully funded, but others may only have a portion of the estimated cost allocated to the project. And the CVTA regional dollars are being used to leverage when going after state or federal funding in other programs. While those dollars have been identified for leveraging, they're not able to be allocated to other projects. So this policy will, define the time frame that the leveraging funds can stay on a project before they would need to come off and go back into the balance entry of CVTA regional, becoming available for our application process. So that's underway. Like I said, we should be going to finance in October, so that'll be coming to you later this year. The Fall Line Trail Working Group's main focus has been on long-term management of the Fall Line Trail. We've received good input from the jurisdictions, and we have also asked for help from VDOT and Sports Backers, Virginia Capital Trail Foundation in reviewing a draft document and getting data together. That will be good for future discussions on that subject. VDOT did share that they are on track to advertise the design build for the southern section of the Fall Line Trail. And that may have been advertised already, and if it hasn't, it's any day now. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Anything from Ms. Smith? But thank you as always, we're very grateful.
You're welcome, thanks.
Before we move into other business, I just want to make a note. There's legislation currently on the books that provide for liability protections for certain entities. And if you're like me, and I know many of y'all are, we have an annual reading plan of the Code of Virginia. So we enjoy that. I keep it with me at all times, and fall asleep at night reading it. So for your own edification, 33.2-1525, Hampton Roads is in there, Northern Virginia is in there, but with the creation of the CVTA, we're not in there at this time. And so I just want to make note of partnerships that really aid the CVTA. I reached out to Senator Hashmi and Delegate Cousins, both of which immediately said they would help with this in their respective chambers. This is really important, and so we should see that moving through. So should you get legislative updates back home and you see something about CVTA on there, that's what this is. But I just want to say publicly here, thank you to the both of y'all. Answered the phone, said you would immediately start working on it, and you both have started working on that. And it'll be a great benefit for CVTA. So just publicly, thank you both for doing that. It means a great deal.
What's the code section?
33.2-1525.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd gotten there yet. That might be in your October reading. Yes, ma'am.
Can you guys circulate that via email so we can
Be happy to.
share it with our lobbyists?
Sure.
I think
I
I fell
think
asleep
it would just be
before.
good to have it on their list so they know when you guys are talking to them what's going on over here too.
Yeah, no, thank you, Miss, and I would be happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? All right. Other business, any CVTA member comments other than Mr. Carroll making a disparaging comment about the chair? I'll exclude that from
I didn't make a disparaging comment.
this is preemptive.
I love the chair.
The chair loves you. Anything further? Well, I know we may have some weather moving in, and whether we do or we don't, we're not quite sure. Weathermen are the only folks that can get paid to have the stats that they have. But please be careful out there. Thank you all. If there's nothing further, the time is 9:57, and we are